complex, much too complex, too complex, much too complex.
Welcome back to the BlackTrack, where I do commentary and review on movies with an all-black cast or at least a black lead. Today's movie is New Jersey Drive, and if ever there was an appropriate title for a movie, it's that one, because majority of this movie's runtime is spent driving, and some of the decisions made in the movie drive me absolutely crazy. New Jersey Drive was directed by Nick Gomez, and is yet another movie produced by Spike Lee. It stars Shar-Ron and Gabriel Cassius, both first-time actors at the time, and it definitely shows because their dialogue is less acting and more just random conversations. They're backed up by Donald Faison, who I've always just referred to as that one guy from Clueless. New Jersey Drive is the story of Jason Petty and his band of carjacking friends who spend the majority of their day stealing cars and going on joyrides in a city that seems to have no idea how to prevent such crimes. When I use the term story, I use it lightly because as you will see, there's not much story going on in this movie. Even though New Jersey Drive is a catchy name, it's a shame that the actual city of Newark, New Jersey declined to let Gomez film there. The city officials feared that the movie would tarnish the city's reputation and undo all the hard work they already did to reduce the carjacking rate, so Gomez had to settle for filming in Brooklyn and Queens instead. I bet people who lived in New Jersey would immediately notice, but the southern guy like me would have no idea. If I had to say what the movie reminds me of, I would have to say it closely resembles the movie Juice, with a little bit of Menace to Society. I feel like it was definitely inspired by those two movies in tone and structure, and released during a time when it seemed like every region had to have their version of a coming-of-age crime movie. Except in the South. We had to wait until 2005 when ATL came out. We definitely got the short end of the stick. But can this movie do enough to steal a good grade from me? Let's BlackTrack and find out. The movie is just starting and Jason is already in jail. Well, that was fast. This might be the fastest BlackTrack I've ever done. I'll holler at you. No, this is one of those scenes where we see what happens to a character later in a movie instead of just letting us build to it. It's always an unnecessary spoiler and one of my cinematic cardinal sins. The movie follows it up with another cardinal sin of mine by giving us some, I bet you're wondering how I ended up here, style narration, not only for this flashback, but during the entire movie. See, I'm of the opinion that you should never narrate something that you can express through storytelling and acting. It's kind of taking the easy way out. If there was any doubt that this movie was an Uptown movie, then just check out those boots, son. I can't tell if they're Tim's or not, but what else would they be? What was the point of even having an alarm system in your car in the 90s? It definitely wasn't a deterrent. Hell, I don't know if it's a deterrent now. This random guy gets a car and heads down to a flex while all the other criminals show off their stolen cars. You know your city has a problem when every car at the kickback is stolen. Our main character Jason hooks up with a friend of his named Ronnie, and this guy uses enough motherfuckers to make Samuel L. Jackson proud.
She was live, right? Motherfuckers I ain't seen in years out there wrecking shit, boy.
I definitely had to bail out on them.
Motherfuckers try to roll up on me. Had them show them motherfuckers mad skills, boy. Left them motherfuckers in the dust.
Motherfucker.
It's contagious. Ronnie had the misfortune of stealing a cop's car, and how they knew exactly what he was going to be to ambush him isn't really established. None of that matters to these cops though, because even from their vantage point, they can tell he's got a gun.
Oh, shit!
He doesn't really, but they weren't going to let that get in the way of a good execution. Despite being shot, Ronnie manages to get out and take off with Jason, but he's in bad shape. They make it to Ronnie's house, and I like how this unknown guy just casually comes up to inquire about the situation.
What the fuck happened to you? They shot him, yo.
It's just a Tuesday for that guy. The next morning, Jason, his friend Midget, this guy Tiny, and this other guy Richie talk about what happened with Ronnie the previous night. You know what I'm saying?
You know how my man got a body this time? That nigga was out. Straight up going.
That's because that motherfucking police putting up a bullet at that nigga ass, you know what I'm saying?
This conversation isn't really about much, you know what I'm saying?
Real, yo, let's check that nigga out today, you know what I'm saying?
They really just talk about going to visit Ronnie in the hospital, and then forgetting about him for the rest of the movie, you know what I'm saying?
Same shit they did to my kid Pico, man. Pablo put caps on that nigga back for no reason, you know what I'm saying?
They hit my man off something nasty. Black man, know what I'm saying? Black man.
Talk about my man had a gun. My man ain't had no gun on him, you know what I'm saying?
This riveting conversation is broken up by the round-the-way girl of this movie passing by and quickly making all the dudes forget about their boy in the hospital. Can't make a low-budget Juice without a shot of the crew walking down the street together. Jason lives with his moms, her boyfriend, and his sister. And it's looking like another dead president situation where the man at the house really doesn't have anything productive to say.
What the hell happened to you?
What even was the point of that question? Dude is just sitting there eating cookies and doesn't have a scratch on him. These old movies really had a problem creating compelling black fathers. They could have put some of the effort they put into making sure the sister had some throwaway lines into the boyfriend, honestly.
You done already? Am I done? You got that magazine there acting like you can read or something. Am I done?
Yeah, I can kick your little ass. Go upstairs.
What's wrong with you? Yeah, okay, whatever, Jason.
Not sure how the cops knew to come pick up Jason, but he probably should have been a little nice to his sister because she immediately rolls over on him. He goes off to jail thinking he's in trouble, but this woman here just wants to interrogate him about Ronnie getting shot. She's not really interested in taking down a couple of small-time car thieves. She wants bigger fish, and is actually looking to take this corrupt cop in front of a grand jury. That's not to say Jason gets off with no consequences. He goes before a judge who gives him one chance to get his life together with 2 years probation. I know Jason is the main character and all, but it seems like they were focusing their attention on the wrong people. I don't think Jason steals a single car in this movie. His friends Midget and Tiny, on the other hand, are professionals and put in most of the work. We get a scene with Jason hanging out with everybody's favorite girl, Corrine. Oh yeah, if I forgot to mention it earlier, her name is Corrine. Trust me, it doesn't matter. Just as it seems like she's taking kind of a liking to Jason, his friends pull up to making him accessory right quick. Did she grow up with all these dudes or something? Why they push up on her like she the neighborhood freak? Side note, but yo, this dude Midget got some big ass teeth. He can't even close his mouth. So I thought these dudes were taking these cars in for profit or to turn into a chop shop or something, but I guess it's all just for fun. And these guys' idea of fun is playing chicken with the police and leading them on a high-speed pursuit. They love it, but Heavy D, the drug dealer here, thinks it's bad for the neighborhood image and gets in their face.
I'm tired of you punks coming out with this bullshit. This ain't no fucking car race.
You see, Heavy here caters to a more high-class type of crackhead, and he can't have that type of negativity ruining his reputation. The crew holds on to these cars too long for my comfort, and that comes back to bite them when the corrupt cop who's been after them tracks them down. Tiny gets pinned in by several officers while trying to escape, but his confidence is sky high from his earlier getaway. He should have asked Ronnie about how far these cops are willing to go to take them out though. Or at least he could have asked Ronnie if the cops didn't ram into him at full speed and kill him. Damn, this department needs some oversight, ASAP. It's amazing that they actually arrest and bring people in this city. With Tiny being dead, the guys thankfully take a sabbatical from carjacking to attend his funeral. Even at a funeral though, they can't escape the ignorant Negroes as this guy Richie they hang out with starts low-key making fun of how Tiny looked in the casket.
I ain't bugging, I'm just saying.
Yo, show some
He look
respect,
messed up,
kid, man. His
That's
family
all
right
I'm saying.
here, man.
Yo, I got love for the critter and all, you know what I'm saying? But he just look messed up. Like,
Damn, Richie, I mean he is dead after all. I'm sure since all these guys grew up together, they're all tight with each other's moms, and Tiny's mom approaches Midget to probably give him some emotional support. Or not. I'm confused by that though. How can she be mad at Midget for what happened to her son when it seems like her son did just as much, if not more dirt than Midget? Probably not a good idea to argue accountability at a funeral though, so he just takes it. You have the right to get your ass whipped. Jason gets profiled and assaulted while walking home, but it turns out it's just a corrupt cop who they call Roscoe letting him know that he's watching him, and if he ever testifies about what happened to Ronnie, it's gonna be some trouble. He leaves him a little something to remind him of the consequences if he does. Jason's mom sends her boyfriend in to try to talk some sense into Jason, but she should know better than to expect a dude Jason's age to care about what a wannabe stepdaddy has to say. It goes about as you expected.
Man, oh man, you can stop the bus right there, man. I don't need no daddy, alright?
Since things at home aren't going like Jason expected, he decides to move in with Midget and his 3 criminal brothers who we found out in a throwaway line are taking advantage of Midget's poor old grandmother. If I had the choice to stay with my people and follow a few rules versus staying with 3 impossible felons, I think I'll take my chances and stay with my family. Exhibit A. At least I wouldn't have to worry about no dusty Negro trying to steal my stuff.
What you doing, man?
Say what? Oh, no, I'm looking for my scissors.
This movie should have probably ended with Tiny's death, or it at least probably should have happened later in the movie because there's still time left and his surviving friends definitely didn't learn their lesson from his sacrifice. In fact, they're being even more bold and decide to jack a police car. All this so they could terrorize some white college kids. Yo, if I'm risking death and possible incarceration, I at least want to make some kind of money out of the deal. I definitely wouldn't be doing this for clout. Could you imagine if Instagram existed in this movie? To make matters worse, their friend Richie is telling everybody about the police car heist, and that puts the cops on high alert for any black teens who have a different car every day like our characters here. It should come as no surprise that they are immediately apprehended and brought into the station for questioning. And since Jason is particularly disrespectful in his response, he gets a special treatment.
Let's not play any games, all right? What's your name?
Charles.
Charles what?
Charles Manson.
Actually, his response was nowhere near the most disrespectful.
What's up, man?
What's your name?
D's.
D's what?
D's nuts, man. Spell N-U-T.
Speaking of disrespectful, listen to this house Negro.
Tommy. Ring a bell?
they all look the same to me.
And his name is Tommy. What a coincidence. On second thought, Jason might have wanted to tell him his name because Roscoe shows up and he definitely knows who he is. He introduces Jason to some of his unique interrogation techniques. You're running out of eyes to hit there, Jason. You can't afford another shot. Midget couldn't wait to push up on Corrine while Jason is tied up at the moment. I don't want to make no assumptions though, because in all fairness, I think Corrine belongs to the streets. Turns out they actually used to date back in the day. I know one thing, if they do hook up again, she better not let him go down on her. I know that much. No matter how many second, third, and fourth chances you give these dudes, they just refuse to stay out of trouble. This time it's open beer containers in the streets. They could easily avoid another ass whipping and just pour it out, but what fun would that be?
Oh, you done called back up on us, huh, bitch?
Those are fighting words for these cops, and the visual of all these cops chasing Midget through the alley made me laugh so hard. Just look at how they all single file around the corner to get in his ass one by one. You know, he probably could have got away with it if he wasn't wearing them heavy ass Timbs. The cops leave Midget there to ponder his life choices until the night comes, and he goes back to retrieve his dropped beer bottle from earlier. So once again, no lessons learned. The beatdown must have changed something in Midget because now it looks like he's getting his bishop on and has become trigger happy. I don't even remember him buying a gun. He just has it all of a sudden. He fires on a police car, which funny enough goes nowhere when you compare it to all the other minor things they've gotten hemmed up for throughout this movie. Jason is kind of worried about Midget carrying a gun around everywhere and tells him it's really not the move. So it's good to see that there is actually a line that he won't cross. I'll be damned, they actually do work for a chop shop. But if I was this guy, I would fire Midget expeditiously. All he does is joyride all the cars and get into wrecks. The chop shop guy pretty much tells him as much, and Midget decides he's tired of being small time and goes for bigger and better cars. They peep a Lexus in the parking lot, but this time the driver is right there next to it. That doesn't stop your boy Midget though. He takes off in the Lexus and leaves Jason to fend for himself during the aftermath. Jason feels a little betrayed by the whole thing, and all Midget could say is that he had to do what he had to do because he's got bills. What bills? You and your freeloading brothers are just bumming off your senile old grandma, probably spending her social security and everything. Well, looks like you done, Jason. Roscoe got you dead to rights on this camera footage. Jason's sister is out hanging in these streets and he can't handle her hanging out in the same circles as him, so he confronts her and tries to get her to go back home. Richie is there and gets in Jason's face for messing up the vibe. Hey, I thought y'all was boys, all this over a female? I feel like Richie been holding this in for a long time, but it's never made clear why Richie all of a sudden has a problem with Jason. I feel like that's an important detail that was left out. Roscoe comes to Jason's house to pick him up, but he ain't there. And his mom's is no fool, so she's not telling them anything that they don't need to know. Instead, she tracks Jason down herself, which kind of looks bad on the cops since she can find him so easily where they can't. Not like he's even hiding or anything.
What the hell you laughing at with your bald-headed ass?
I love this dude's mom. Jason is the most popular dude in the city right now. Everybody is gunning for him, including Richie. Literally. I'm still confused about what makes their beef so serious that Richie is trying to kill him. It just can't be that serious. I know running and shooting with one hand is kind of hard, but damn his aim sucks. Despite all the heat that's on them right now, Jason, Midget, and Peanut go for one more jack to try to make some extra money. But this one is a sting operation and the jakes are on them immediately. Peanut tries to take off like Ronnie and Tiny before him, but he learns that these New Jersey cops don't like witnesses or survivors. Peanut appears to die right there on the spot, and this here looks like Jason's last strike. We finally caught up with the present day, and once again, even though the story hasn't exactly been compelling up to this point, it still would have been better if Jason's incarceration came as a bit of a surprise. This random dude starts flexing in front of Jason and comes across as real suspect, to be honest. Wouldn't be much of a stretch in lockup. Instead, he gives Jason a veiled and very vague warning about watching out for Midget.
You better say goodbye to your man Midget.
I don't know if he means Midget is gonna die, Midget is gonna snitch, or Midget is gonna kill Jason. He just doesn't say. Dude walks off before anything is made clear, and unless I just missed it, the movie completely drops the story thread and it never goes anywhere. Jason's mom comes to visit him in jail, and it's enough to make you shed a tear. But don't cry now, son. You had plenty of chances to avoid this. New Jersey Drive commits the third cardinal sin of movies by trying to tie everything up rapidly in the last 10 minutes. Jason testifies in front of the grand jury for the shooting of Roscoe. He gets out of jail and is greeted by Corrine looking like she's on a 1995 club advertisement flyer. And he gets a little closure with Midget and decides to give up the carjacking game, which I feel like is a scene the movie didn't really earn, but whatever. It even seems like Jason is about to get a little lucky and take his and Corrine relationship to the next level until the demons of his past come back to bite him.
Bitch, get the fuck out the car! Get the fuck out the car, nigga! You think I'm bullshit? Get out of the car! Get out! Get out!
I guess there's kind of a lesson about karma here, but for the first time in this movie, Jason decides not to go down the ignorant route and yells at Midget to leave the situation alone, which prompts him to just respectfully leave. It's a good thing too, because had Jason gotten into the van seeking revenge with his friend, he might have ended up participating in the Stranger Things challenge and ended up in the Upside Down filled with bullets like the rest of the occupants. In a news report the next morning, we find out that Midget died and Jason and his mom sit in silence and think about what could have been. This might be the best scene in the entire movie as Jason walks down the street looking all studious with his book bag while some carjackers ride past him, echoing his past. He walks by a mural celebrating his fallen friends, but damn, they couldn't give Peanut some love? Unless Peanut lived and the movie just decided not to tell us. The movie gives one last homage to Juice as we get a slow motion walk of the crew before everything went down in happier times, if that's what you want to call it. But if I can stop right here, I feel like this picture should have only been Jason, Midget, Peanut, and Tiny, because I have no idea who this dude is, and this nigga is a hater. Let's get to the grade. New Jersey Drive is a hard movie to judge because it was filmed on a small budget of only $4 million, and to me it's more docudrama than drama film, especially since the director said it's based partly on his life growing up. The scenes don't really have anything that ties them together, and things pretty much just happen at random and either have no direction, no follow-up, or any resolution. Yeah, there's reoccurring characters, but when they're all together on screen, it's all just spontaneous and improvised banter that at most times have nothing to do with the actual plot. That's probably because there really is no plot. It's multiple scenes of Jason and his friends stealing cars, getting caught, talking about it, and doing it again, only to get caught or killed. Anything else going on in this movie feels forced in, like the half-hearted female love interest that's not fleshed out, and the random jail conversation that led to nothing in the end. It's not the worst movie ever, but it seems like there were a lot of ideas that were thought of in the planning stages of this movie, but instead of dropping some ideas to add more weight to others, every idea was put into the movie in some shape or form, and what we ended up with was a lot of loose ends and unfinished story threads. I didn't see New Jersey Drive when it first released, so that may have changed my opinion of it, and I learned that there are quite a few fans of this movie while researching. That's why it kind of pains me to say that my grade for New Jersey Drive is a D-. There are better movies out there with similar themes and concepts that tell a more complete story. And that does it for this episode of the BlackTrack. Let me know how you felt about New Jersey Drive in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And until next time, I'll holler at you.